Before I get into my movies, I want to talk a little bit about why movies mean so much to me. And early on in London Real, I realized that we were making a big difference with the kind of things that we were publishing. And again, when movies first started kind of in the 20s with sound, nobody knew what they were going to become. And then later we saw television, and later we saw long form content and episodic video on Netflix. And now we have YouTube. And we just don't understand the way these mediums affect our brains or ourselves as a humanity. And if you're ever here at London Real Studios, you might hear me say, we don't understand what YouTube is yet. And I truly believe that. And you might say, well, Brian, what do you mean? It's you upload video and you watch it. It's pretty simple. But it's not simple, because you don't know how this is going to change us as a society, as humanity. If you even look 5 years ago, there was nowhere near the amount of instructional videos online. So, for example, if you could do a one-handed handstand, which 5 years ago was a pretty rare thing, these days there's videos out there of everyone in the world doing these things in all these situations. So that meme has spread and allowed humans to be like, wow, I can do that, I can try that, I can post that. I think it's a collective consciousness of information that's up there on YouTube that's taking us quickly to a new transformation in humanity. And we are part of that here at London Real. And so that's why what we're doing here is creating a mass-scale transformation of humanity into a fully empowered, conscious, and cooperative species. So every episode I upload of Bruce Lipton, or of Vito Portal, or even of Dan Pena is actually going to take humanity to another level, and we believe a better level. But about 2 years ago, I thought, you know what? There's only so much I can do with two people sitting in leather chairs and talking. And I thought, we're so good at also creating visuals in our trailers, because every episode of London Real has a visual trailer. And I've always liked movies, so why not make movies? And so that's what we decided to do. And about 2 years ago, we were at BAFTA to premiere our very first film, which was Dorian Yates, and it was called Inside the Shadow. And this was a big move for us. And again, I always tell people, like, I knew nothing about podcasting. I knew nothing about academies. I knew nothing about digital products. I knew nothing about making a movie. But we trusted ourselves, and we said, you know what? We have good intentions. We have a great mission, and we're going to make this movie. And so we flew down to Spain, and I had a crew of 5 people. We had cameras. We had sound. We didn't exactly know what we were going to shoot. We had great interviews with Dorian. We wanted to tell a story that had meaning. And as I always say to anybody who's the subject of my movie, from Vito Portal to Dorian Yates to John Joseph to Jocko Willink, I always say in the very beginning, let's make something beautiful. That's my only intention. I don't want to say let's make something that makes money. Let's make something that gets people in theaters or wins Academy Awards. I always say, let's make something beautiful. Let's make something that has an impact, something important. And that's what I said to Dorian, and that's really what we did. So this was the first premiere. It was amazing being at BAFTA and premiering that movie. But we did Dorian, then later we did Vito Portal, where we flew to Tel Aviv, and we really had an incredible time where we talked about the philosophies of movement. It was really important. I went up to the castle in Scotland and, of course, filmed Dan Pena, the $50 billion man, and my entire process with Dan. And this was filmed over the course of years of my life, the whole story. And then, of course, last year we did Iron Mind, which was my Iron Man movie that I went and raced an Ironman triathlon with 90 days of preparation on a 100% plant-based diet with Mr. John Joseph. Went to New York City, went back to some old demons. And we did that, and of course, recently we dropped our documentary film with Jocko Willink on the lessons from war. So we've embraced this, and our movies have now been watched millions of times, and people stop me on the streets and say, wow, that movie changed my life. That movie got me to start moving. That movie got me to take ownership of my life. This movie got me to understand my dark past and how I can make amends to it. It showed me I can do training. And so that's what we try to do at London Real, and we love it. Our next movie is called Dissolution, which will be premiering this year. We'll have a world premiere in a theater here in London around June or July. So definitely come to London for that. If you ever want to go to a cool event, come to one of our movie premieres, because they're awesome. The guests are there, the vibe is there, and it's great seeing something on a big screen. And so that's why we embraced movies, because we know they can potentially change the world faster. And if that's our mission, to create this mass-scale transformation of humanity, and it is, then movies make sense. So does our academy. That's how we transform people. So do our episodes. So does every single thing we do here. And so that's why we created these movies. And so I would love to talk to you about 5 of my favorite movies and how they brought me to this level. And you'll see a lot of these movies in this, right? Because we're all We're all part of everything we've ever done in our past, relationships, things we consume. So you'll see some of these things in my movies, and I'd love to talk about it.